glooming peace this morning with it brings. The sun for sorrow will not show his head. Thy hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned, and some shall be punished. Today we are gathered because one of thee is responsible for the murder of Romeo and Juliet. Lord Capulet, we shall commence with thou.
How thou? Dost thou not know? I am Juliet's father.
I know that well, but I also know this. You had a bitter discourse with Juliet the night of her death.
Hang thee, young baggage, disobedient wretch! Yes, I'm afraid I did. But if I'd known Juliet would pass, I would not have been as vicious as I was.
I believe you would have, as Juliet did make it up to you by agreeing to marry Paris right before her death. I see no further motivation for you to kill your own daughter.
Thank you, detective. Please, find who did this and have them punished.
I will. The truth shall be uncovered. Lord Montague, were you ever aware of Romeo's marriage with Juliet?
No, I knew not.
Then you may not be guilty in the sense of unclean hands, but thou art guilty in the sense of duty. You have failed as a father. Balthazar, loyal servant of the Montagues, but let us design where thy loyalty truly resides. Is it true that I saw Juliet dead before anyone else in the Montague family?
Yeah, that's true.
Why would you go to Romeo first? He was banished to Mantua. It would make no sense for you to go to him first, unless you had a very good reason to. I believe that you knew of Romeo and Juliet's love before anyone else, but their love disgusted you. You knew that Romeo would kill himself if he couldn't have his Juliet. So you told Romeo about Juliet's death, with the hope of him killing himself.
No, but to betray Romeo is to betray my God.
Alas, good Balthazar only told Romeo what he thought would be best for him, and he only told him what he knew to be true for the time.
If that be true, then this tragedy doth be deeper than one might entail. O holy nurse, thy dear servant and friend to Juliet, you were both the last and the first person to see Juliet before and after her untimely death. For such to be a coincidence would be a stretch, don't you think?
No, but...
Let me lay out a scene. You knew that Juliet's marriage needed to be kept a secret, and that neither of you would tell a soul. But all that changed when Lord Capulet told Juliet that she would no longer be your daughter if she didn't marry the noble Paris. You watched as she grew desperate. You knew that if Juliet confessed to her parents, you would be hanged for keeping it a secret. And when she came to you for help, you tried to convince her to marry the noble Paris, but she did not seem convinced. So you were left with no other choice to guarantee her silence.
Poison her? Why would I have poisoned her? I loved her more than her parents ever did.
I don't doubt that, but based on what I've observed from all of you here, love does not seem to conquer any of your hates.
But if I may, Mr. Princeton, when we found Juliet's body, it had no trace of poison. When we found her body in the tomb, she had a wound of a dagger inflicted in her chest.
Which, if that is true, someone inside the tomb would have had to stab her. When Romeo and Juliet's bodies were found in the tomb, a third body was found with them, the body of noble Paris. When Romeo entered the Capulet tomb, Paris was already waiting for him. Out of rage, Paris killed Romeo, leaving both children dead. Once he realized what he had done, he took his own life.
But that can't be. It doesn't make sense. Romeo was poisoned, Juliet stabbed. During the autopsy, we found Paris's body was dead longer than both Juliet and Romeo's.
If that be so, perhaps I've overlooked your involvement in this case, Dr. Lawrence. This case seems to be a mystery, but with your final piece of the story, everything is now clear. When Juliet was told she had to marry Paris, she had nobody else to go to, so she came to you. She cried and cried, begging for a solution to her predicament. And so, you gave her one. You gave her a potion that would make her appear as if dead to the rest of the world, which then she would wake up after 48 hours exactly. You wrote a letter to Romeo, informing him that Juliet would awake in the Capulet tomb, and that they could run away together when she awoke.
But the message did not arrive in time.
The moment Romeo heard about what he thought was Juliet's death, he rushed as fast as he could.
So there was only one possible solution to this tragic crime, and that be that it was no crime at all. The murderers of Romeo and Juliet are none other than Romeo and Juliet themselves. Their love for one another was so true that they couldn't bear to be apart, and hence they took their own lives. Where be these enemies? Capulet, Montague, see what a scourge has laid upon your hate, that heaven finds means to kill your joys with love, and for winking at your discords too. We have lost a brace of good fellowship. All are punished. All are punished! For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.